Alright, what's up? Wild Runs here, and I have so much to cover. I'm actually on the grounds at Jonesboro, getting as close as I possibly can to these players, trying to get the best footage of this event. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this content. I've been working super hard to make it. So with that, let's dive into how Jonesboro actually ended. So starting out, I thought it was probably going to be a runaway with Kristin dominating, and spoiler alert, that is exactly what happened. But there was still a lot of things that happened that made me think that Kristin may not win, or more realistically, some other players may shine. And that was definitely the case, at least for the first round, for Lykke Lorentzen, who definitely showed up in the first round. I felt like she was probably one of the best players out there. So it was really surprising to see how she did fall off a little bit in the final round. I thought she might have a chance to take down like second place. Ultimately finishes with an even, not really going to cut it, but I will definitely say there were so many points where her putting looked better than Kristin's. At least for circle one, she was so dialed, and her drives looked very good as well. She has a lot of control, finishing with 6 under, putting her at 5th place. And just honorable mentions for some players I didn't really see at all this weekend, but who crushed in the final round and also tied her. Big shout out to Ellie Midling and Maria Leva, who also crushed it in the final round. But for the most part, it was looking like it was just going to be 3 names: Kristin, Eveliina, and Holyn. Now, Holyn came out of nowhere with a 10 under in her second round, putting her right next to that spot where you could potentially see a world where she does take down Kristin. Ultimately, just kind of falls short in some very uncharacteristic misses, has some kind of blow-up holes, especially in that final round, and was actually +4 through the front 9. So I definitely did not think she was going to take down second place, but with an insane back 9 push with 5 under on the back 9, she finishes 1 under, putting her 1 stroke above Eveliina. And I truly think she's one of those players that can birdie out every single hole, but just has those moments where it just feels like she's out of touch a little bit, loses some focus, loses some confidence, and I think she needs that to have a great round, which she ultimately did have in the back 9, but especially for somebody that was fighting for the win and lost so many strokes along the way, this is probably not how you want to end it. But overall, I think this is still a good trend for her, but I definitely think she has the potential to take down a win this year. But with that said, Eveliina did have a great performance. Like, she played, honestly, some of her best disc golf I think I've ever seen of her. Maybe that's just seeing her live. I gotta see like some better angles and like see her level of confidence, but she looked very confident the entire way through. So I thought for sure she was going to take down second place. But with her last 7 holes being even, that was not enough to secure the second place, so ultimately she finishes in 3rd, which I still perceive as a very good finish for Eveliina. I think this continual trend of more confidence, better putting, great drives, obviously like we know she has the best drives in the game, that continues to be the trend, especially on this course. So I definitely think while her game needs to be a little bit more dialed on those wooded holes where she did get a little bit more squirrely, overall she had a great performance, and I definitely think this is a great trend for Eveliina. But with those squirrely wooded holes that went OB, and since I was there filming my own stuff, I was actually about to pick up her disc, but she actually picked up herself. And honestly, the biggest thing I'd want from Eveliina is just to power down just a little bit, maybe throw a little bit lower speed disc like AB, like we know she has the power, but maybe dropping down the speed of the disc to give it just a little bit more control, especially in those wooded holes, might alleviate some of those holes that end up being blow-up holes. Might be a hot take, but just my 2 cents. But let's move on to the GOAT, Kristin Tattar. It really felt like there was no battle in this round. I knew Kristin was going to dominate. She continued to dominate. She has so many great circle 2 putts that you just know she's going to gain strokes on the field. And even though her distance wasn't great, she had some weird OB throws. Overall, she still just played within her game, within her level, and did not try to exceed that for much of this entire round. I felt like she was so under control and actually ran putts that I think she feels more confident running than laying up. So with that, she was able to gain even more strokes on the field. And it feels truly insane to think that kind of an easygoing round for her was actually almost the hot round for the day. And honestly, it felt like at many times she was not on top of her game. She had some weird missed putts in the first round that just felt like gimmies, like they were 15-foot misses. And I think maybe it was like the stress, maybe it was the wind, it's hard to say. But I think even with some like mental battles, no matter what it is, if she is feeling focused and confident, she will take down most events. And I think this is just another example of that. And we also have to know that she has some back pain, she has some form of like injury going on, but with that, it doesn't hinder her game nearly at all because she looked so dialed and so confident the entire round. And it honestly is starting to feel like that Paul mentality, where if she is feeling confident, there's basically no one that can take it down besides her. And with that, we get that much closer to the elusive 1000 rated, with this being a 10-16 rated round. Round refresh was, I think, a couple days ago. She was 999. I think now she has Nashville and Champions Cup until the next refresh. And I think that will be the moment where we get a 1000 rated FPO player. I'm very stoked for it. Obviously, she doesn't really care, but if she does, I think it'd be very interesting to see how she responds to finally getting it. because it seems like the disc golf world cares so much more about it than she does, which is just hilarious, but whatever. All right, with that said,
feels good. I love this course. I've always loved it. Yeah, I've been homesick throughout the trip actually, especially when I'm like struggling with some like stuff. But yeah, I just have to remind myself that currently I'm here, and I have to take advantage of what I can do here.
And now on to MPO. Honestly, I don't even know where to start. There was so much chaos from lead card and chase card. I was following chase card all day, and I pretty much thought it was going to be a chase card winner the entire round, because I was kind of thinking Isaac was going to drop off. I thought AB, surely he can't get a third win, and Calvin just generally does not do that well under pressure. So on chase card, we had Albert Tom, Ben Calloway, and Ezra Aderhold. Now Gannon Burr was on this card, but there was just so many spit outs for him that he was never truly in it. But much like all the other players, if he would have just not had those spit outs, he was definitely in the running to take down this tournament. And looking at the lead card, Calvin was playing pretty good up until hole 10, where he takes a double, and I felt like all the momentum really shifted away from him. Same with Simon and AB. They all just did not play well throughout the entire front 9, even front 10, and Isaac probably played one of his worst rounds that I've seen him play with an even to finish out the tournament. But then we get to the back half, and it is a night and day difference. We have a huge birdie putt for Ben on hole 11, and I honestly thought, no way he misses this, filming him, and I was like, please don't miss, please don't miss, please don't miss.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you just got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
And a dead center putt chains out, probably because of the wind. Maybe he putt a little hard, it's hard to say, but it bounces straight back, giving him par from one of the easiest birdie looks he's probably seen all tournament. And this was at the point where he was already in the lead, getting him one extra stroke from the field. So this was definitely not a small birdie to miss. And this was also off Ezra taking a bogey on hole 10, so it really seemed like the power was in Ben's hands to take down this event. And even though I wasn't watching it, I could definitely hear the screams every time AB and Calvin made a good putt, which was definitely indicated by how well their back 9 was, with Calvin birdieing 5 of the last 8 holes, and AB doing probably one of the most insane comebacks, starting hole 13 with even. He was not at all in contention, but after hole 12, everything shifted once more, and he was just lights out with seemingly no stress, because he was probably thinking, no way I win this, I'm just gonna run everything and see how it goes. And he did that expertly, with his big shot being a 60-foot downhill putt for eagle on hole 14. Now the way people were yelling, I thought somebody just aced.
Barela as well. Wow. Anthony Barela buries the eagle. He's back.
It was like the biggest roar I think I've ever heard on a course, but that was just AB's 60-foot putt, which put him right back in it. And this was also the point where Ezra's round was starting to taper off a little bit, but Ben was definitely still hot, and on hole 14 he decides to pitch up, giving him an easy birdie, but also missing the opportunity to eagle, which once again might plague him after this event. So going on to the island hole, he has a great looking shot, pretty much like a 20-footer, and once again he misses the putt. And I cannot reiterate how important all these strokes were. I think he knew exactly how important each one of these strokes were going to be, so I think it just weighed on him so much to miss these putts and to give up strokes on the field, because he was having such a good round. He was ahead of the field for the majority of this event, but then we get to 17-18, which was probably his biggest downfall of this entire round, with a great looking drive and, to me, a great looking upshot. But knowing that the slope of hole 17 is such a very short drop off going into OB, it is very treacherous, and I've seen a lot of people go OB, including Simon in round 1. So because he needed a decent amount of distance, he had to disc up, and he couldn't throw like a mid, so that ultimately put him out of bounds at a point where he really needed to birdie. He jams in his OB putt, putting him at 24 under, which was looking like that hot number to probably either go to playoffs or win the event. But then we get to hole 18, and it is just total sadness, because he misses his drive, completely goes into the water. To me, I think he just didn't commit enough, so he goes out of bounds once more and takes a bogey on hole 18.
The biggest shots of his life. I don't think this is high enough.
He's hung it out too wide.
No.
putting him at 23 under, even though I feel like in so many other rounds, a 26 under for him was very, very possible. But just had so many weird spit outs, weird putts, weird drives, and even though you could tell how bad he wanted it, it ultimately was just not his round, and he takes second place. But with another person that I haven't mentioned in a while, Ezra Aderhold, who equally had a great look to take down this tournament, but on hole 14, he was really pinched off, throws a very weird looking forehand, goes straight into the water, like 10 feet of the water starting, he throws into the water, and I was hoping for like a crazy skip. Didn't ultimately happen. And after that, he did birdie out until hole 18, where he had a great look to potentially become the leader, but really did not commit on that putt, putting him also at 23 under. Now it was all up to Calvin or AB to take down this tournament. AB was playing electric, so it looked like he had a lot of momentum, but this is also very much in Calvin's wheelhouse to jam in this drive. Now Calvin's drive almost made it to circle 1, but hit some trees, puts him out of bounds. And then AB's drive was circle's edge, so he basically had an easy tap in to take down this tournament. All in all, this is probably one of the most intense tournaments I have ever seen. You have to watch this back on live. This tournament that was basically decided by a couple of holes, a couple of spit outs, and no joke, halfway in, 7 people could have won this tournament. I do not think that is true for most tournaments. I think people say that a lot, but I truly think this is a tournament that was so down to the wire that it honestly feels like one of the best tournaments I have ever seen, and I'm so glad I was able to film it live. And with that said, huge shout out to AB, probably one of the chillest guys I've ever talked to, and I'm really appreciative that he was able to give me a little bit of his time before the tournament started. After 2 wins, do you really think that you care how you finish here?
I mean, I'm just gonna play my game and like just try to put myself in the mix down the stretch, and that's all I really can do. Or have like a lead going down the stretch, I feel like I can win the tournament. So that's really when the true tournament starts, is that final round. I can't even believe I'm winning right now. After about 12 holes, I didn't think I even had a chance, and it's just crazy how it can unfold on these courses. I don't know. I wasn't very calm those first couple holes. I was super nervous, probably the most nervous I've been all year. I don't know why.
And I am so stoked that he was able to get 3 wins to start this year. So we have AB getting 3 wins, potentially becoming player of the year already. We have Kristin, who is about to get 1,000 rated. This is just total madness when you expect parity in the sport. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been such a fun experience. I hope you guys enjoy this. With that said, Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.